Hey, you can't go wrong with Sundays. It's August 30th, which that means we only have one more day to this month. It's August 30th, 2026, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which only means we're live because every Saturday and Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we go live. And I'll be honest with you. I love these. I love my lives. I don't care if I miss something on Saturday and Sunday. You know, Saturday and Sunday is supposed to be like fun time, like rest time. Not for me. No. No, I am working every Saturday and Sunday to do this. What am I doing though? Saturdays, well, I do the educational stuff in real time. Examples. Lately, I've been doing a lot of analysis and editing in real time, just so you could see behind the scenes, as I say. But also, to be fair, I'm having a lot of fun with it. If you haven't done so already, please, for the love of all the gods, bloop that beard and bloop that like button. Every like definitely helps the channel. It's one of those things that we say thank you for, because the algorithm also rewards us. Before we really get into it, remember every Sunday is me going over. I'm writing a book in real time. I'm showing you on the screen. There's no just me to the side like this and chicka-checking with some music playing. No, I'm showing you on the screen and I'm talking about it, walking through it, and allowing you an opportunity to ask questions. If this is your first time here and you've never experienced it, I recommend going back to the first video. I know we're on 86, but you get to see the whole thing from these 9 steps we went through in real time. Yeah, that's right. Got our hands dirty, as they say. But currently we are on the first draft. And ultimately what I'm doing is I'm writing the book. I am writing the book. We have, as you can see we're doing it. Still got a lot of cleaning up we have to do, which will come later. But look at all this red, all these notes. That's right. I don't put a lot of effort into the first draft like most people. I just try to write through it, get some ideas. I'm trying to find the voice of things. It's all it is. Anyway, we ended here. We have this much to go. I'm going to kind of glance over this and get into it. But before we jump into that, let's go say hello to everyone and then talk about the poll. Hey, what's up, flowers? Always a pleasure. I usually listen to how they want the scene to go and then write as they would like. It usually turns out pretty good. Hey, you got to listen to the characters. You know, they know what they're doing. Especially if they bring pizza. You got to bring pizza. What's up, Chris? Very few of my characters are actually alive. I see what you did there. Anyway, so of course I'm gonna kill them off. That's funny. I'm a plantser, so I outline my scenes and major acts. But once I'm drafting, I let my characters steer the story. Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm well, not necessarily directly like that, but I consider myself a mixture of both. I like to plot and sort of discover, mostly because I believe that plotting is discovering as well, because you don't know the story, let alone the narrative, when you first go in. So the page is blank and I kind of discover what the outline is. And the more detail, well, we're watching me in real time every Sunday. The more I get into it, though, the more I allow the characters to sort of not necessarily take over, but kind of clean up. You know, they mold it out, as they say. I'm here for the chicka. Hi, I'm actually outlining the rest of my chapters with check boxes. Awesome! Oh, lose my voice. For some, that's a good thing. Oh, that's a nice flower. My sci-fi screenplay ending changed like 3 times before I got the ending I liked. They all shared a similar premise of man betraying androids, though, or androids betraying men. I mean, it's coming. We have the AI. If you don't know, we do have a poll. That's what everyone's sort of talking about. How do you deal with a character who refuses to follow your outlines? We got some fun answers this week. Oh, jeez. We have 7 votes already. So if you haven't voted already, we will talk about it at the end of the hour. But we have ground them and rewrite the scene. And then we have let them take over and throw it out, meaning the outline. And then panic and eat a handful of chocolate. That's probably my answer. Kill them off out of spite. I do like killing my characters off. I'll be honest with you. If I could kill a character, not saying I would pick that, Who here, by the way, while we're doing this today, answer this question. Uh, are you comfortable killing your characters off? Do you like killing your characters off? I have a general idea of how the story begins. Excellent. And some of the middle and definitely the end. So I let the characters do their thing and the rest. Yeah, you gotta let the characters have fun, you know? They gotta, especially once you start discovering their voices, they're gonna start moving. So I do like killing characters off. Excellent. You gotta love killing them. I chose the first one because it sounds funny and weird at the same time. It does sound funny. You gotta ground them, especially the twist or betrayal scenes. That spicy tension. Dead. Dead on arrival. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Oh. All right, so let me just annoyed and worried for her life. Laura checks the computer to establish the next potential landing location. I think that's there's two. Oh yeah, I gotta get into that. Before the war. All right, so we kind of got it. We kind of got it. We know where we're going. The sci-fi story was literally inspired by 80s Death Game. Fantastic. Death Race. Excellent. Rollerblade. Excellent. Rollerball, I mean. Rollerball. Excellent movie. The remake, maybe not so much. That should tell you I'm nice to my characters. It's nice to beat up the characters. Yeah. Kill all the characters. Do, 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 do. All right, we're gonna get to the writing. Again, if you have any questions about writing in general or your books, remember you can ask me them in real time. Don't feel like you have to wait to the end or anything. You know, I'm here to help. I'm here to help because I am a developmental editor and a writing teacher. So it's basically like, hey, here's an opportunity to get some free advice. That's really what it is. It's free advice. You can't go wrong with free advice. You can't go wrong with free advice. All right, let's do it. All right, for the next section, get into the moon and the further planet, the one that is dangerous. Okay, there are two locations. One's a bit closer, and to be honest, I'd pick that one. All right, so this is where we're gonna basically say Planet X. Not that the planet is called Planet X, but I'll be killing off one of my characters, sad but necessary. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Murder in the first 187. All right, is that what it's called? 187. 187. 187. Cops is, I think it's a murder, right? Yeah, it's a murder. Right. Yeah, it's a murder. There's a 187. All right. Pop, pop, pop. Okay. Thinking of rap music now. Well, who sings that song? Somebody sang it. It doesn't matter. Let's keep it going. All right. My answer leaned over my shoulder. What's the closest one? I decided to create more angel fairies. You gotta as many fairies as you can, my friend. And I have also decided to focus on her and other angel fairies of love for book one. Fantastic. That's the way you got to go. Whatever makes you happy when it comes to that writing. Couldn't that be considered a plot device, though? Yes, it is. But this is the way I look at advice. If it's the story you want to tell, just tell it. Whether it's good or bad, that's really up to the subjective opinions of everyone else. And then, of course, it comes down to a little bit of the writing. If you're writing it to sell, remember we talked about this. It's more or less it's about marketing. But at the end of the day, if you want straight advice on this, when it comes to something like this, you don't necessarily kill characters off to help the main character grow. It's actually about something deeper than that, which takes place way before a character dies. And as long as that hits, then it doesn't matter. But if it's just like, oh, these characters are brothers or close or whatever, related or whatever the case is, I'm going to kill them to help a character grow, then that side character usually loses a little, and therefore it means you got to put a little bit of work in it. The way I look at it is, even if you're writing a plot, whether people die or not, the character shouldn't get the job promotion because the character needs to get the job promotion in the plot. You have to somehow dictate a way that that's earned, and where the promotion is less they have to be promoted and more why are they being promoted and how does that influence the next beats. Because if there's 27 beats, you got to remember a lot of them sort of influence each other. The inciting incident will disrupt whatever the world is in PP1, but that inciting incident should be either attempted to be solved or embraced or struggled through in PP5, which is taking action. And then whatever that action is should lead to a twist or pinch that either solidifies their new world, which then takes us into Act 2, or pushes back on, or changes the circumstances. And ultimately that becomes what Act 2 is about. And now they are in the thing, right? So that narrative might not be, the protagonist gets a promotion, because that might not be what Act 2 is about. Act 2 might not necessarily be about the promotion. And that's how you have to look at plot beats. But at the end of the day, though, Cindy, or any author out there, write whatever you want. It's art. It's creative. Whether it's profound or not, it is to the person writing it. Somebody could be writing about green eggs and ham, and that's profound enough. Though I did talk about green eggs and ham in class, and it's on the how to write a narrative course. But I talk about how even green eggs and ham, the first lines set up the protagonist, the antagonist, and the situation. Do you want some green eggs and ham? No, I do not want green eggs and ham. I do not like green eggs and ham. Now we have the protagonist's position, right? But Sam is the antagonist. No, I do not want green eggs and ham. Sam, I am, right? And the fun part about it is that position of I don't like green eggs and ham changes completely. And now I love green eggs and ham. I'll eat green eggs and ham in a house with a fox in a box. And writing at its core is that. So whether it's elaborate and massive prose and fun dictation, as one might say, right? It's all the same. Writing is writing, So as long as you're having fun with it, that's really all that matters. What's your favorite classic book, Thomas? What's your favorite classic book, Thomas? Oh, classic? I guess I can't say Shakespeare. I do 12th Night. Right? That I'm just trying to yeah. If music be the food of love, then play on, right? Yeah, if music be the food of love, play on. So 12th Night is my favorite classic, but I guess that's not technically a book per se, since it's a play. I don't know. I don't really have favorites like that. Though I will say this. I really loved, and I did it on this channel. I did Lord Soth. That was like the first book that I really like read all the way through. And then sort of like as I got older, I went back and read more and more. Like I went back, like I didn't read Lord of the Rings until I was 17. Um, but I read Lord Soth in my early teens. And before then, I didn't really read a lot, but I watched a lot of movies and television because, it was family time where my dad and I would watch movies. But Lord Soth, even though like I did critique it and I have a lot to say about it, that was the book that sort of inspired me to be like, wait, I think this is something I would love to do. I like the way it's like delivering an idea and I'm able to picture the story in my head. Um, but again, I'm the writing in classic books again because I started reading older books later, like even Wheel of Time. Like I read that later in life. I didn't read that when I was a kid, even though all my friends had already read it. Uh, but I do like, Christmas Carol. Like there's nothing wrong with it. The writing, I have a lot about the writing, but I like the idea of it. Like that's what I liked about classic stories is those kind of things. Um, but I will also say this: school kind of pushed me away from reading earlier in my life because, like, the way you know, like Tom Sawyer, we had to read it, and then like everybody had to read a page out loud, and then we had to, and I was just like, I don't care about any of this, because it was more, everyone was sort of like picking on everyone. They were making jokes about the book, and I was just like, so I had to wait till I got older. So I didn't really get a chance to read, as we would say, all the classic books. But the ones that I have read, the things I like are like A Christmas Carol because I enjoyed the arc of the character. Not that it's about Christmas, but that we can become consumed in a lot of what we believe has value and push away what truly has value, which are the people around us and the loved ones in our lives and stuff like that. So I would just say Christmas Carol. But as far as like the books that I really, really, really enjoy, I do like, and it's weird to say, but I like Legends, which is the 3-book series for The Tale of the Twins, The Time of the Twins, and The War of the Twins. I like those kind of books. They're from the Dungeons and Dragons eras. Even though the writing could be argued about, I like the characters. I like the simplicity of it. Even though I like complex stories, there's just something so wonderful about Raceland and Caramon and like their journey. There's a lot of questionable things in those books nowadays, but even what's the other one that I mean, I like Way of Kings, but I don't like Way of Kings. I could say that that's not a classic book. Anyway, I like human stories. That's why Christmas Carol, I like the evolution. The Tale of the Twins, it's about these two brothers, the twins. One is basically trying to become a god. The other one just loves their brother. And just, like, I like that part was interesting to me. Not they're fighting a war. Not he wants to become a god. Like, none of that is interesting to me. But, like, the way these characters, that's the thing I'm always looking for in a book. Whatever it is I'm reading. I'm currently outlining the break. Hey, having fun with outlining. I don't know why I feel like I'm gonna throw up. What's going on? Hey. Is it a problem to push a book on both Amazon, Katie, and um? It depends. Amazon. Oh, why do I feel so weird? Amazon has a rule. There's a certain thing if you choose, and I could be wrong on this, so please double check it. But Amazon, if you select the extended reach, whatever it is that I think it's extended reach. Again, I could be wrong on this. They could have changed it, but my understanding of it is if you select the extended reach, you can't necessarily push anything but Amazon. Like even on my website, if I have selected that, I can't have on my website an option for them to buy the book elsewhere. It can only be to buy it on Amazon. I have recently gotten rid of that option, and I've selected it so I could have Ingram Sparks and Amazon. I would say to you, I would look at the margins. Oh, if Ingram Sparks has a better margin for you, push it on there. If Amazon has the better margin, push it on there. However, good sir, you are selling a ebook, and there's a way to make the ebook file applicable to all viewers, all tablets. And if that's the case, really you should be selling it on your website. And in that situation, if you're selling it for $7, you're going to be making $7. So, is it a problem to publish a book on both Amazon and KDP? I do not believe it is a problem to publish it on both. You do need to publish it on Ingram Sparks if you are intending on selling it to major bookstores. Libraries, there are two ways that I know of. One, they have to purchase it through Ingram Spark, or in this case, it's an aggregator, right? Or you make friendships, which I did. I became friends with the library. I work with the library, and they've taken all 3 of my books that are physical copies. But again, the simple answer is if you select worldwide, they do have like an issue with that. Just don't select worldwide. And also, by the way, I sell a good amount of books on Ingram Spark, and I don't tell anyone about it. Like, I don't market the link. I don't push the link. I don't even have a link for it anywhere. It's just Ingram Sparks is connected to a bunch of stores. So by being attached to the stores, that is an avenue that they purchase it from. I killed off my main character in the first chapter. It spends the rest of the story as a... That is awesome, Chris. I like that. Hello! Welcome back. Welcome back. Mortal Horde Warrior. I like that name so much. I do not like green eggs and ham. Yeah, but do you like my hams? I ham it up, and ham radios. I have a friend who is a Jewish comedian, and when I was starting comedy, he'd go up there and he goes, when I was younger, remember the comedian is Jewish. He goes, when I was younger, my dad wouldn't ever let me get a ham radio. And when I asked him why, he says, because we're Jewish. And the child in me was like, that is just a great joke. But the comedian in me was like, you know that's not a good joke. It's just a stupid joke. Hey, Ashley, always a pleasure to see you, my friend. If it goes toward my character's background and how she grows up and why a past event happened, make a difference to use a plot device. Make a difference. Yeah, sure. I mean, like, there are, if you read, not you, this is the royal you. If you read Shakespeare, there are millions of plot devices being used at any given time. But, you know, a good plot device could be anything from the MacGuffins to the Chekhov's gun to the red herrings to Deus Ex Machinas, are technically a plot device, as is ticking clock. Ticking clock, for the record, is probably the most used device. And what that means is if somebody says he's dying or we got to get the bullet out, that's a ticking clock, right? The clock has been set. And that creates instant stakes and tension because will they die? Will they not die? If it's we're going to be late for whatever, that's a ticking clock. If it's the meteor is coming and it's going to hit the planet, we got to send, diggers up and drill a bomb into the meteor. That's the clock. That's ticking clock, right? It's used everywhere. And it's a great plot device. But I'll put it to you this way. What I am saying when it comes to plot devices, if the narrative is based on the plot device, it doesn't necessarily solidify the strength of the narrative. And this is my evidence. Armageddon, if you took away Ben Stiller and Liv Tyler's relationship, and the fact that Ben Stiller was mentored by Bruce Willis's character, and Liv Tyler is the daughter of Bruce Willis. If you took that relationship out, now the story is all about a meteor coming to Earth. There's nothing to connect to. Then, they tried to give every character sort of substance. So there's the one character that's like, he gives like his ex-wife like a spaceship and says, give this to my son, tell him I'm a hero or whatever, tell him I'm an astronaut. Like they gave everybody little tiny moments. But without the Ben Affleck, all right, and the Liv Tyler and the Bruce Willis relationship, the movie would just be a plot device of it's a ticking clock and a meteor is going to hit us and kill us. And that's not necessarily interesting. The engaging part is the evolving relationship between those three characters. And that Bruce Willis at the end is like, you have my blessing, tell her I love her, and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, I don't want to close their eyes. I don't want to look away. Right? So that's what makes the ticking clock interesting now, because it's more about the characters we care about and less about the ticking clock. That is my argument about it, and that is what we've talked about many a times in Writer's Room, is you can't just be like, he's the chosen one. The chosen one is has to be background. That's all I'm saying. Like the meteor is technically in the background. It's the thing driving the narrative at the, like they're like, we have to get diggers and we have to train the astronauts. The astronauts aren't smart enough. Well, then we're going to have to use the diggers to go, right? Like all of that is building towards the asteroid, but it's really not about the asteroid. The movie, at the end of the day, is not necessarily about the asteroid. What's your least favorite book you've read? Oh, my least favorite? Oh. So far, Words of Radiance is up there. My cat is going crazy upstairs. 2. There was all right. If I may. I really liked The Vampire Lestat, but I also really liked Interview with a Vampire. But once I read the whatchamacallit, The Queen of the Dam, I was done. Like I was just like, all right, I don't want to read any of these books anymore. That book was really, in my opinion, the book was bad. There's a lot of really fun moments in the book, but I didn't like the book as far as that was not a very fun book. Another book, there's a book called it's not called Count Strad, but Strad book. Count Strad book. It's called The Curse of Strad. No, that's not it. Book. What is it called? I can't even remember the name of the book. I know the cover. Oh, I Strad? Is that it? Yeah, I Strad. The Memoirs of a Vampire. My friends read this book, everybody, and they were all like, this is the... Again, I'm maybe in my teens, and I was reading the other books, but everyone's like, Ravenloft books. Which is interesting, because the book I ended up really liking was the Lord Soth book and the Black Rose, the Knight of the Black Rose, whatever, and those are basically Dragonlance and Ravenloft. But everyone was like, Strad, you got to read this book. And I read this book, and I was just like, I do not like recommendations, because so many people have recommended stuff to me, and then I read it, and then I'm just like, Do you know? Here's a funny story. It's about a TV show. One of my close friends, who's basically like a brother to me. We grew up together in the music industry, and he goes, "I was watching this show with my wife, and all we could talk about was how this is so a show for you." So that means, by the way, I don't talk to this guy all the time. It's like random, you know? So the fact that he's telling me that I was on his mind while watching the show, and him and his wife were discussing the connection, and they were both like, we need to tell Thomas to watch the show, right? What is the hell's the name of the show? I can't even remember the name of the show. I'll describe the show, and they're like, this is everything he would love. And they tell me, and I give every show 3 episodes, you know, because you got to find your footing. And I was basically like, is this ever going to end? Every episode, I'm like, this is so stupid. Everything, it was just pure nonsense. And it's about like a millionaire who brings together like top thieves who are like highly wanted. And they just go out and they do crimes, but the crimes are to stop bad guys. Or and the dialogue was all like, and I'm exaggerating. I'm obviously, you know, this is what it's like. All right, we only have 4 days to accomplish this, or they're gonna get the bomb, and blah 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 blah. And then someone will be like, all right, well, you know, I'm the man. I'm the man in the hall. So I'm obviously going to be going through, you know, whatever the ducks, and the other person's, and then the girl will be like, well, I'll take care of him because I'll get him to like me and get him to trust me, and like that's how terrible the dialogue basically was. It was. It's just like, I'm the femme fatale. I'm the handyman, and I was just like, okay, and I'm just saying, what are your thoughts on that when it comes to people recommend? Do you give people? I give people 2 recommendations. If they give me 2 bad recommendations in a row, I will not listen to a third. That's how I do it. When people give me, I benefit of the doubt because I care. I care. I'm just saying. I'm a big adventurer and explorer, Africano. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, no. You know what's interesting? When it comes to stories, the further away from Earth it is, the more interested I am as a story. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to read stuff that like removes any literary bias or experience bias when it comes to like our connection. Like obviously if I'm watching a show or a movie about New York, my brain is like, oh, that's Fifth Avenue, or that's bullshit, or why is everything on Madison Avenue, or Times Square is not a good, like why are they going to Times Square? That's the worst, you know, like it kind of takes me out. But I do like, for example, I've never lived in Italy. So when I read stories or watch a movie or television show about Italy, I'm intrigued because, you know, I don't necessarily have a direct connection to it. But the further away from Earth, and I'm not saying it has to be sci-fi, but the more complex it is, the more I really love it. You can't go wrong when Edgar Allan Poe. Other than the fact that he married his cousin, I believe he married his cousin. He made a living by selling books randomly to the newspaper, and you know, that's interesting to me. Is we can't really go that route anymore, but I do like seeing like how people who have created such a name like Edgar Allan Poe found themselves in a position where they struggled, and it's not till their passing where they became a greater name. And there's a lot of authors and creators that ultimately have done that, which is interesting. But all right, let's get into it. I do like it. I like the dog. Hello, hey, what's up, Sean? books through several different websites, like what you said, as well as Barnes. Yeah, but if it's Barnes and Nobles, there's a chance that they're going through an aggregator, which is like an Amazon or Ingram Spark. But I believe you can publish on Barnes and Nobles now. I think you could also print books at Barnes and Noble now. If you choose KU for your book, you have to wait 90 days before you can put it on other readers like Kobo. Yeah, they have rules like that. But what I was saying is, if he just makes a file and just puts it on his website and sells the file that could be read on readers, that's an option. Have you read Master and Margarita? Let me see the cover. Margarita? No, I haven't, but that's an amazing cover. I'll leave that up. Hard to think of the worst book I've read, because I've probably not finished it. Oh, that's fair. Yeah, but isn't your hard pass anything that's a romantasy, whether it's good or bad? If a show doesn't get me on the first episode, I'm not watching it. But this is the thing, like, you may be missing out. That's a good approach, yes. But at the same time, the reason I give it 3 episodes is because I've been in that industry, and I know that it takes 3 episodes to build the characters properly. But again, Breaking Bad, the opening to that show is a masterclass, right? But some shows, if they are more anthology-like, or if they're like, like Suits. I liked Suits pilot a little bit, but it wasn't until I understood the show, like 3 episodes in, where I was like, oh, I'm enjoying this show. Person of Interest. That first episode is not necessarily what the show became or is. In fact, there's a lot of plot holes directly connected to the first episode. But that's because to find your footing in television is a whole thing. So, also, a lot of my friends worked on it. The first AD was a buddy of mine. Mr. Robot is my favorite show purely because of how insane its formula is. You never know what's going to happen next. That's fair. That's fair. I will say this. I did not watch the 4th episode. I could never get into Guy Gardner's books. Why is that? What is it about the guy of the Garviners? Guy Gardner. I gotta write this book. Oh. He's 71 years old, jeez. I recommend anything written by... Hey! Toss me the money. What is it? Toss me the money. SB. What's that song? Is it Toss Me the Honey? I don't know. I love Jules Verne style stuff too. Oh, that's good stuff. Stuff that feels of Earth, but also completely. Yes. Anything that just, I want to feel like I'm reading a different world. Like, I don't want to be on Earth. I think there was a TV series like that. It was where a group of people traveled back and forth in time, but they only had like, it was Shifters or something. Show about time travel where they had 24 hours. I think it's called Shifters or Sliders or something. Or 7 Days. No. I think it was called Sliders. Yeah, Sliders. Jerry O'Connell, Sabrina Lloyd. Is that right? Am I right on that? But poor execution. They actually, they had some issues with that show. I like David Eddings, but his later books about Atlas sucked. But was it thick? All right, I was going to ask you if Mia's Leverage, but now I'm thinking of another show that had dialogue to describe, and I can't think of the name. There was a villain with a deck of cards. Now you listen here, James Bond, okay? All right, sir, I am the villain. I have cards. I have cards. All right. Good times, good times. Can't think of the name though. I really can't. Show about thieves working together. Leverage. Was that it? Yeah, Leverage. Leverage. This show is terrible. Found it. Don't anyone watch. Hey! It's Richard. When the moon hits your eyes like a big pizza pie, that's an amore. Oh, Sliders. Sliders is awesome. I used to watch it as a kid. Well, why don't you watch it as an adult? They're also tiny burgers. Yes, they are. They just didn't catch my interest. Difficult read right from the start. Well, that's fair. Yeah, some books are difficult. They're just too much. That's an amore. Yay! That's funny. All right, no, Ryan said grabbing the tavern. Ridiculed, no, riddle me this, riddled. Sliders was, yes, but they didn't have 24. They travel from one reality. Oh, go where they traveled in time, but only had 20. The time tunnel. 24 hours in the past. That's a British show, though. I don't know. I'd love to know, though. I'd love to know. All right. City is riddled from the war. Too much. Too much. All right. Authority. Authority. All right. Just a couple things. When I'm writing stuff like this is very on the nose, and it's a first draft. And the reason is because I'm sort of still exploring what are the rules and what are the stakes and what are the issues. And I do recommend when you're writing your zero draft or first draft, and I would even argue your second draft, keep yourself connected to the idea that it's all right to add a lot of, as I would say, exposition. You know, if you have to just say it as is, because you're still trying to figure it out. But by the time you get to that third draft, though, I would try to start removing stuff like this. This is too on the nose. So by the time you are on that third draft, you could reevaluate this and sort of, you know, your job is to know what it is you're writing. Your job is to have the deep context. And sometimes to get there, you have to have the stuff that is like that. In fact, if I have, I whatever it is, I yanked my tablet back from him, right? Like this is just creating like a back and forth, and whatever it is, and I'll adjust that later on. But I yanked my tablet back from Oren. Like I know that's true, and the way I would write it by the third draft, maybe that would be more intentional, where I don't have to say Oren. But I yank it, and now as a first draft, there's nothing wrong going. It's either there. Right? And then that's just directly stating the stakes. All right. And more importantly, this moon. This is just exposition. So I would argue this as a developmental editor. I'd be like, all right, this is sounding a little too right on the nose. How do we kind of move through this? But as a zero or first draft, our job is to ultimately work through the context. So what about this moon? And I have to say that the moon is whatever. It's dangerous. danger. Now, this is an important plot point for later because we do end up going on that moon, but this kind of sentence is probably better for this draft, but not necessarily the third draft. So computer's saying, what is the computer saying? The moon is pure chaos and filled with danger. Done, right? So this is a dangerous one. And the planet... Do you know what I'm saying? You have to think of you have to think in the process while you're writing your zero draft and your first draft and going through the writing. You're going to be writing multiple chapters, right? You're going to this book alone. Let me look at the thing. This book alone, right now, without adjusting chapters, we're at 27 chapters plus what is it? You know what? I could just do this. Oh wait. We're at 36 chapters right now. Okay? So here is the reality. As you're writing, you may not know how many chapters you have in you or how many chapters the story's going to have because you might be pantsing. But let's say you're outlining like we did. Sometimes you got to break chapters up. My point still stands. This little bit of information is more important as straight context in the first or zero draft because by the time I get to the 36th chapter, I would have gone through so many different scenarios and emotions and character developments that I might not necessarily remember this specifically. And if I'm reading a highly detailed and edited and worked chapter as a first draft, there might be stuff I'm missing because maybe I'm not connecting the subtext but my brain thinks I do. You know, there's just... As a writer, you need to go back to your first draft to write your second draft and not have a split second of confusion. You have to know what it is you're writing. That's why a lot of screenplays, the first thing is just literally like dialogue is like this, like, you know, especially if you're trying to like churn out, you know, you might just be like, we have to get to the bomb before 3. What happens at 3? The whole city block will be destroyed. Right? Boom, done. All right, great. And that's the scene, right? And they're like, all right. And then maybe they go, Roger, you and Melissa have to secure the area and get people out of the whatever the explosion range, whatever. And that's something I would look that up later. All right, and then all right, but if Roger gets me killed, okay, whatever. Derek, get up to the police. Make sure they, you know, whatever. Mark the whatever, right? And like this is what first draft stuff looks like a lot of times. And the reason is because we just need to know, are we following the plot? Is the plot coming out? You know, this probably would be taken out, but I just did it as a joke. But everything that is written in a first draft or a zero draft in a screenplay, just as with a book, should be exactly what you need to read. And it might not be the greatest writing, it might not be the most interesting dialogue, but once you know what they have to say, you can start developing character. So, you know, you could turn this into a debate, you know, like whatever. Instead of starting with the information, you could have them start with, we need the police to, you know, whatever, restrain the parameter, the city. And now we're sort of in the vague but informative because we know what's going on. We need the police to restrain. And what about the debris? Debris, you know, wave, shock wave. Can't worry about it. Roger. All right. Now, as you can see, this was the original one. Now we're creating a character beat. It's as if they can play off of each other. They know what the other person's going to say. They're already ahead of it. All right. And then you have, all right, let's go. 3:00. Or whatever. Instead of saying 3 o'clock, you go 3 hours. Now the dialogue is taking on more character, but it usually starts off very like straightforward. And all of this is in this beat, but you know, at the end of the day, you don't have to write it as clean or purposeful as you feel you have to in a first draft. And that's what they mean. Like, don't worry about it being pretty. You know, like that advice you hear on the internet all the time. Don't worry about it being pretty. Don't worry about it being pretty. What it really should be telling you is just get down the information that is necessary to keep your plot moving. Then, once the plot all makes sense and all connects to itself, you're going to have to rewrite it anyway. And that doesn't mean throw it out and rewrite it from scratch and be like, what do I remember? Though that is a choice. Rewriting means you just go back through what is there, you look at the scene beats, and just like I did with this, I look at this and I go, why don't we just get to the stakes first? All right, let's get the characters talking, right? And now they're talking in shorthand and they're responding to each other or interrupting each other, and they're right. That is like a second draft. And your third draft would take this to another level. And that's how you should be looking at your writing in general. Just saying. Anyway, so don't worry about if your first draft has direct comments like that. So something to think about. Whoa! What do we got here? Third drafts required me to finish. That is fair. That is fair. Hells yeah! That makes me so happy for you. A villain with a deck of cards can make you draw a card from his deck. If you got a certain card, determine if he kills you. All right, everybody. Choose a card. Choose a card. Oh, the queen! All right. All right, remember the card. Don't tell me what the card is, all right? I'm going to do... That's no moon. That's... I think I'll do that read through next. Hells yeah, that's my favorite part of the read through because then you get to take notes. I like taking notes. Hey, Angel Faye. Oh my God, the spreadsheet. Oh, I did hope to lose words. Did you lose words or did you gain words? That's the real question. A lot of times, though, I'll be honest, every draft should gain words, but by the time you get to line editing, that's where you're going to start cutting words. I often intend to keep notes of what happens like this, but I get lost in the draft. I'm working on updating my outlining process so I don't need to make narrative choices while drafting. I love it, sir. I love it. We'll give you a big applause for that one. Did another spin? All right, we're going to have to take the spinner away from you, Angel Faye. You're not going to have any time to write your books. Woo! That's really good. That's sexy. That's sexy. Gain 3K. That's what I'm talking about. Well, if we look at this, look at this. The zero draft is at 18,000, and we're only on. Where are we? Oh wait, let me bring that up. Whoop. Look, we're at the zero draft right here is at 18,106. Right, and then we're at chapter 4. I think I'm gonna have to do 4-1, but we're at 4. Oh no, we won't. And 4, we're already at 24, right? So that's, what is the difference there? Hey, that's not how we do it. 24, 578 minus 18, 106. It's already 6,000 words difference. Every draft is going to go up. It's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying? It's just what is this? All right. You think I can get this done? That wheel is mine. Get your hands off of it. Yeah. Remember, there's a poll. We will be talking about it soon. All right. The thing is dangerous. So this is what I'm going to do. Rubbed his chin. Glanced over. Answer. By the way, you could write Oren rubbed his chin glancing over at Manser. Now, what is the difference? Well, in this scenario, so you could see both. So it's good to understand. This is something I'm going to be teaching in the new course that'll be starting this Thursday, basically about writing. We're going to learn things like this. But if we look at these two lines, the visual is Oren rubbed his chin glancing at Manser is, let's say if I look like this is Manser over here. This is what it is. Right? This second line, the visual of it, and this is important to understand sequence of movement too. Oren rubbed his chin and glanced over at Manser. So again, this is Manser. It's right. So it's important to know the order of behavior because it's technically affecting how you can move forward. And a lot of times these using your INGs are fine, but you might actually be intending to say they did something and did something. One move verse 2. One is like they're doing it at the same time. Like, like if it says he said standing up, it's all right, everyone, we got to talk about, and the character's standing up while saying it. If it says, all right, we have to do that, he said and stood up, right? So it's an order of sequence, and that affects and influences the way the characters are moving on the page and the way it is presented to your reader, and it might influence what is to come. Hells yeah, tighten it up. But again, remember, Flowers, when you're doing your rewrites, like when you're working on your first draft to your second draft, don't worry about line editing. Worry about plot, character, world. Look at your sentences and make sure that you're moving the plot, the characters, and the world around. Make sure that you're adding more immersion. Make sure that the environment is more present. These are the things you really should be worrying about. Once you are finished with it and you're like, I feel like this book is good, you can start your line editing, which then turns into adjusting the line. Should I use the? Should I take away the? What article should I use? Should I create a more fluid sentence here? Am I showing redundancy, right? Like, he stood up is redundant. You could just write, he stood. Of course he stood up. He stood, right? And then he stood, turning to Jake. Are we going to get this done? Then you realize he stood. Are we going to get this done? You know that he's talking to Jake, so you don't have to say that he turned to Jake. Like you start learning. That's where you start using the line editing. Thomas, when you write, is it easier to cut words or add words when you feel you have a story you like? Oh, I have no issue cutting words. But like I just said, I don't worry about that until the very end. Once the book is ready and I feel the characters are working, the plot is working, and the world is very lived in, I need my worlds to feel lived in. Like, I need everything to feel part of everything. I don't want it to feel like you're reading exposition. I want it to feel lived in. Once that happens, the line editing, if I have to, I will cut not only words, I'll cut scenes if I need to. if I feel a scene isn't doing the job it was meant to do, or it's redundant, meaning it's basically characters saying the same stuff, I cut it. But usually I don't get, like, by the time I'm done, I don't have scenes that I have to cut like that because I've already done that work. I have a very good feeling about the rest of my story since I did the outlines of my chapters. That makes me happy for you, my friend. One is action and the other is telling. No, not necessarily. In this scenario, they are both. This is both telling, and they are both action. The showing would be. It'd probably get, Oren rubbed his green shin. His rustic crackled over his thick alien, or his thick Jessic alien skin. All right, and then Oren rubbed his chin, right? He glanced over at Manser. Right. I would actually, if I wrote a sentence that long, I would go, all right. Manser. This is showing. Now we are seeing, feeling, and experience. Showing is always when it becomes more immersive, not more detailed, but more immersive. Oren rubbed his green chin, his rustic hand crackled, or it should be crackling over his thick Jessic alien skin. Glancing over a man, so the two sat in a long stare. A lot went through their stare. One I should be worried about. I could even do this. That is. So it's less that it's action and the other is telling. They were both telling and both action. So it really, I'm actually gonna leave that. All right. Also, my office chair is done. Woo! It lowered itself to the ground with me, so I'm currently sitting uncomfortably. Yeah, tell me about it. The chairs do that right there. All right. Time to get a new chair! Hells yeah. They are, Cindy, they are. I'm a cheater and like writing historically based fiction fantasy, so I find creating a lived-in world comes easier. Yeah, and for anyone who doesn't know, lived in means that you don't explain anything. You would never say, all right, he entered the tavern, a place of gathering in memory of the fallen nine. What you would do is, he entered the tavern. I've used this example before. He entered the tavern and rubbed his hand. Whoop. His hand the broken bell. For the fallen nine. This is lived in world. This is telling and is not. This is world building, but it is not lived in world. So remember that, my fellow writers. There is a difference. All right. There is one thing I'm happy, which is my desk, as it is 20 years old. I love it. It's as old as my pain in my back. I have already written some of the other chapters as well as the last two. I'm jumping around in my story. And well, you should, my friend. And well, you should. All right. So, okay, let's get to it. Fine. All right, that's fine. Let's do this. This is another reason why I keep all the old files, because I'm about to delete all that because I'm done. But if I ever need to look at those notes again, I still have them. The other thing I have to write here, I think his name is Felix. This is a big note that I'm definitely going to have to adjust. Felix needs to be present in the chapters. This one and previous. Or I'm going to have to remove him altogether. However, if he stays, I might have to just have him die. That would be the solution. Or, this is how I think in my head when I'm working on it. Or, Felix could be part. No. All right, now my brain is okay. No, because it's a single first person POV narrative, and we're cut away except for the one scene with Manser, which is a third person. All right. Felix will have to die. Yeah, I think he's creating more complications than I anticipated by letting him in. That's something we're going to have to work on. All right, there we go. We finished another chapter. Boop. Let's do the word count. 1194. That's what I'm talking about. All right, there we go. 1194. All right. Woo! All right, what do we got here? An L-shaped wood desk. I love L-shaped wood desks. Can't go wrong with that. Yeah. All right. Hey, what's up, Mellows? Currently writing out some ideas for a superhero story. It's set in the year 2525 CE. City and Force are doing the work. But also, that was the year I was born. All right. Way to go, Mallow. Thanks. It's an idea that was brewing in my mind for a while. It was inspired by my love of action cartoons. I love it. Gargoyles, I hope. I don't want to brag, but my sci-fi novel is like a million years in the future. Impossible. Okay. Cool Afghani sounds interesting and difficult depending on what you have changed. I mean, a million years, like everything could be changed. People could have we could be, technically. This is the interesting part about a million years, Afghani. You can make humans biologically different because enough time has changed for evolution. They say we're losing our pinky toes, right? Because of sneakers. You can make it where they have their foot is just one toe. You can make it where, because there's pollution. You could say pollution has evolved. So humans have developed a way to filter out carbon monoxide or something, and maybe their noses are different, or maybe they have gills that are actually, filters. I'm just saying, a million years. This is the thing, people don't think, what I'm saying? The funny part though is Star Wars takes place a long, long time ago in a far off galaxy from us. And we went from the Force to people just picking their noses. I'm just saying. Are there even words in the future? It's just... Ah, yes. The humans have evolved into Homo Deus. They are... Interesting. All right, let's go to the poll. How do you deal with a character who refuses to follow your outlines? We have several choices. We have 17 votes. If you haven't voted yet, please drop it in. We have ground them and rewrite the scene. We have let them take over and throw it out. Panic and eat a handful of chocolate. Why that's not higher is beyond me. Kill them off out of spite. Before we do that, this is for anybody who hasn't seen the show or are watching the show way after the fact. But if you don't, you gotta bloop that beard and bloop that like button. If you haven't done so already, it does help the algorithm. I promise you, the channel will benefit from it and grow, which makes it easier for me to do this. That's right. I am always constantly trying to find ways where I can continue to do this and do more for the channel, for the Patreon, for the Substack, everything as an area for you to learn and be educated while keeping it controlled. I will say that also brings me back to how to write a narrative. If you join the YouTube membership, which is only like $4.99 a month, you can watch the series. If you go to Patreon or Substack, if you're part of the Scribe tier, by the way, you get everything from my epic fantasy to everything else. But you will also get the new series that is coming out, which is going to be focusing on actually writing. It'll be more about the prose and everything like that. More importantly, I do have books available. Make it right left here.com. That's right. You could learn how to outline. I promise you, the book is humorous too. There's some funny there. If you like to learn about writing, and if you're enjoying this Sunday extravaganza, this book is available on Patreon and Substack. You get the 0, the 1st, and the 3rd draft before the polish. And then I give educational elements to each chapter, basically how I thought through it, my process, and then of course I give a lesson on it as well. If you like Noir, I've been updating the Noir chapters. It is only a 0 draft, but it is still educational. And if you don't know, Breaking Down Success, book 1 and 2 are currently available, and that's it. That's really it. Boom. Oh, and also if you want some file references, there are 3. The next one I'm uploading is actually one on basically outlining the 27 plot outline for your central conflict, and then how to implement your subplots. So or your sub arcs, as I call them. So how to take those secondary stories and how to filter them through your main central character arc. So it will be a helpful sheet for that. Again, if you are on Patreon, Substack as a paid member, or YouTube membership, you will be getting that for free once I am done with it. All right, other than that, let's get into it. That tells me they have to. They have to. Some aliens are telepathic, or it's interpretive dance. I'm in it. I love stuff like that. I picked Kill Them Off, but in reality, I would force plot and character into a compromise that makes neither of them happy, just makes me happy. And let's be honest, that is the place you need to be happy, because you have to be enjoying the book, first and foremost. In the year 2525, what was the old Conan thing? In the year 2000, and that's 26 years ago. All right, thank you. Good night. All right. In the year 2525, if man is still alive, if women can survive, they may find it in maybe, possibly. I think we're definitely gonna be dead before 3000. Maybe definitely by 3500. And the reason I say that is, isn't there a meteor coming? And the pollution and the nuclear war and like all the other stuff. I don't know. I did read that they just recently, and this annoys me, but they just recently discovered how to reverse aging, but it's isolated to the eye right now, I think. Let me double check that. I thought that was they're getting closer and closer. What is the reverse aging thing they just started doing on humans? They're officially working on human specimens. Scientists have launched the first human clinical trial of particle cellular reprogramming, an experimental gene therapy designed to rewind the biological clock of aging cells. I saw this. This is so crazy. The drug, a Boston-based, of course, Boston-based company called Life Biosciences. If you're into investing in stocks, I think I'm gonna be symbol. Get that thing. Oh, they don't have a stock ticker yet. If I were you out there, pay attention to Life Biosciences, and if you invest, that might be. Don't take. I'm not a financial advisor anymore. Dose the first human patient with an experimental therapy called ER100. The trial is testing safety on patients with severe optic nerve damage causing blindness from glaucoma or neon, which is a stroke in the back of the eye. So they're starting with the eye. The therapy aims to restore function to damaged cells by making them act young again rather than just slowing decline. These are the first steps to advanced human, basically to reverse aging. The scientist builds on Nobel Prize winning research by Shia Yama. I'm sorry, I'm saying his name wrong. I think it's Yamanaka. Who discovered specific proteins that can reset mature cells. If you're writing sci-fi, this is it. This is the scientific explanation for healing and regenerative that they use in Star Trek. Because they use the ray and it regenerates your cells and everything. This is crazy. Full resetting turns cells into blank stem cells and can cause tumors. Oh. This method uses a partial reset with 3 proteins to rewind the cellular age without erasing the cell's specific job. The safety switch is when the genes are delivered using a modern virus or a modified virus and come with a built-in switch controlled by a common antibiotic. If the patient stops taking the pill, the reprogrammed genes stop working immediately. That's crazy. That's crazy. All I know is I need to make enough money for that to be possible. I want to live for a long time because I want to experience people, love, life, everything. I want it. I want it. Quest for fire, million years in the future, and we see destroyed buildings from today. It's the quest for fire. That movie is with Ron Perlman, isn't it? Isn't Ron Perlman in that? The quest for fire. I think so. I forget who directed it, though. It was some French guy, I think, right? Anyway. Hit the bloop! Hit the bloop! All right. So much love, Cindy. So much love. My world is inspired by space age pulp. Retro future. What? Futurism and utopia ideals. I love it. I love it. But you're also writing superhero kind of stories. I also like that a lot. I like that you're doing that. All right. I would be interested in that outline for subarcs. Yeah, absolutely, Cindy. You will definitely get it. You will get it. Once it's done, I'll let you know, and then everybody will be able to email me for it. All right. I'm going to panic, eat some chocolate, and pop popcorn. See where it goes. I'm with you. I am with you, SB. Sometimes you just got to eat that. I think I would just panic because I'm rewarded the chocolate. And that's really, I want my chocolate. Song by Zager and Evans. Wasn't there a song with 25 in it? I believe there was. I don't know. I don't care. I won't be here. Benjamin Button, here we come. My father, I have a distinct memory of my father watching that movie with me. It was my father, my mother, and I. We were hanging out in where we call today Tampa, Clearwater, Tampa. Fun fact about Clearwater, it's such a highly Christian city that they petitioned for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays to change their name to Rays because devil is evil. True story. Also, Scientology, one of their massive churches are there. All right, with that said, so I'm watching the movie with my father and my mother in Tampa. And the guy starts, if you don't know the Benjamin Button, spoiler, he starts off, he's born old. He's born, right? And he slowly gets younger. And we're probably like 30 minutes from the ending. And my father's like, if they turn him into a baby, walk this movie. All I'm going to say is every single scene where that kid is turning smaller and smaller and smaller, my father's like, this movie. He's like, it was so good. And then he's a baby. Because he was making, like, he's a funny guy. He was a funny guy. I miss that butthead. I miss you, Papa. All right. In the year 2525 in the year 2000. Okay. Survived long enough until they figured out. I'm going to try. I am going to try. It's getting harder and harder, though, emotionally and mentally. All right. My mom had both in her eye, glaucoma and a stroke. Jesus. It's what we think. She failed fit test that week as well. Is anyone watching Silo? I'm thinking in Silo, there's a guy who's like a trillionaire who like built the silos, and there's a reporter, and she goes, "Why aren't you healing cancer and all these other things?" And the guy is like, "Well, I'm trying to save the world. I'm trying to make it so, we could all survive as a species." But in my mind, I thought about, like, when I heard that, in reference to things like this, I think about like how selfishly irresponsible nations are, in the sense that, like, this is probably getting a little less about writing, but I've always been a person that believes we should be a world nation, with different cultures and different territories. Sure, fine. But like, our humanity should be working together. So whether they're doing it or not, I don't feel it's on a grand scale. I don't think it's on a world scale. Yes, there are scientists from different nations working with other scientists, but I think our resources should be pulled together to find a commonality or a common cure for different things, from making sure everyone has water to making sure they can't. I always thought about those things. Whenever I see that in stories or movies, what you said, Cindy, like, sparked that kind of like connection to them. Like, I see that, and that debate has always been interesting to me, because this guy is a trillionaire, but he is not the world's wealth. And that one guy's responsibility shouldn't be to heal whatever cancer, but the world's responsibility, I feel, as a world nation, not that we should impose this is how you live on people as a world nation, but that we should be like, what would make us better? What would make us healthier? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm cuckoo. I'm just the writer. Who cares? All right, Stargate SG what is it? Never. What? Oh yeah. Where they lay in the coffins and they heal. Is there a new season out? The second season was ass. Yeah, they're on season 3. 4. What am I? I think I'm watching. I'm watching a new season. It's almost over of Silo. Uh, the first season was really good. The second season is the second season where she goes out into a new silo and then comes back. I think that's the third season. How many seasons of Silo are there? Oh yeah, yeah. So season 2, yeah, season 2 is where she went out and came back. That season, yeah, I wasn't. That season was better than season 3 though. Season 3 is a slow crawl. My villain wants to make humans interplanetary, but he experiments on prisoners and uses his stature as a scientist for evil. Totally not based on anything that's happening. World War II. Ooh. What did they say? What is that theory? What is it where they say some of the greatest evils in our time have led to some of the most profound? There's like one of the greatest evils of our time have the most profound advancements for humankind. Humankind. I think there's a thing, right? There's a yeah, tragic events and massive conflicts often force rapid technology and social progress, even though the human cost is, at its core, terrible. From battlefield trauma to penicillin. Penicillin, World War II created an urgent need to treat infected soldiers, which led to a mass production of this life-saving antibiotic. Does that mean if we didn't have World War II, we would not have penicillin? That's right. There's a philosophical debate about that, right? Where there's like the theory, like if A happens, B. If we take away A, then B never happens. I always wonder about those things. Because clearly we'd want to, like, maybe murder Hitler at an early age. But then you think penicillin saves so many lives nowadays. Like, it's just so like it's the I'm not giving an answer to this, but it's the train scenario where it's like, there's 2 tracks coming up, and one track has 1 person and the other track has 5 person. Which do you hit? Do you hit the track to kill the 1 person, or do you hit the track to kill the 5 people? And those, by the way, that's the kind of stuff I like exploring in story. Like in novels, I like those conflicts, those conundrums, those, this or that kind of like what is challenging our moralities. It's always been something that I've been quite interested in. Just as a way to advance or evolve as a human, to see the world differently, to think differently, not to think not to think I want to think more objectively through subjective questioning, like opinions and ideas, to develop, to understand nuance. Sometimes I see certain things and my brain just automatically like gets like, because I'm like, there's no black and white thinking is not, it's not healthy for discussion. It can't be or not be. There has to be some sort of level for at least debate. I think a one world society could create a whole slew of new problems. I don't disagree with that. I think if a one world nation was controlled as like a cabal, and we lost culture, yeah, there would be problems in all societies. My argument is solely to bring resources to help elevate and advance technology, medicine, and education. I deeply believe that the world needs those things. Any human should have at their disposal health, resource, or wealth, as they might call it, because wealth is not the same for everyone. Wealth might be, if you had the ability to write every day, that is your wealth, right? Like without disruption to your world, and you could still eat, and like that's technically wealth. Wealth doesn't mean millions upon billions of dollars, but health, wealth, and education. I think those 3 things are, if all humans had access to that, and all humans work together to build and elevate those and expand those ideas and not limit those ideas, I personally believe that whether the problems exist or not, we would be in the margin of better. I feel that, but there's no there's no there's no conclusive evidence to it because we don't. But you could run. Yeah, I skipped most of it. Of Silo. Yeah, Silo. Have you heard of the libertarians? Is that librarians? Libra. Oh, yeah. Big adventure, bigger secrets. 4 seasons. All right. Okay. The quote that inspired me for my villain in the sci-fi story was, "Science has made us gods before we could even ever be human." That's a really good quote. Science has made us gods before we could ever be human. Yeah, that really sits in the Jurassic Park kind of line, right? Like you learn the power without truly earning it. So you package it into all these. That's a really good quote, buddy. It's the playing God debate, but in a more realistic sense. Basically, very good. I had a hard time balancing my antagonist as realistic without feeling cartoon villainous. That's definitely something you have to be aware of, yeah, for sure. It was a great breakthrough when I realized she didn't have to do crazy things to put... Yeah! Yes, villains don't have to be outsidely crazy or do insane things. A villain... By the way, just for the record, to anyone out there, there is a difference between an antagonistic force and a villain. A villain is indeed villainous. It is they are an antagonistic force, but antagonistic force can be a best friend, a loving mother or father, a partner, a great job, the best job in the world can still become an antagonistic force to the protagonist's goals and motivations and desires. A villain is purposefully doing something and they act as if they are in their right. They are right. They are righteous. And doesn't mean I disagree with they feel they're the hero of their own stories all the time, because you could have nuance to that. But the villain is purposefully doing stuff whether the antagonist exists or not. They are, as Shigella says, "But I am a villain, and I'm so good at it." Whatever he says, like crazy. That's the only thing that made He-Man interesting. All right, along with war comes advances in medicine. Yes, it's so, but even weaponry leads to solutions. Yeah, it's an interesting debate. Interesting. Oh yes. This very interesting. We would, but the question would be, would we have the capacity to mass produce it? Well, it depends. The if we're talking about like bringing together resource, I don't necessarily understand whether, if this is about the resource thing. It's less that we pull together our it's more about pulling our resources together to find solutions for things, and then, finding ways to mass produce it. Yeah, for sure. But also, I think if we were a world society and we were trying to best help all people and not be like, "I am better than you people," and it was more about, not that it's utopia-esque, but also, would capitalism be a thing then, or would it be more about let's work together to do something? I don't know. It's a conversation. Also, the illusion of borders and cultural boundaries if humanity is under one. I'm not saying I'm not saying one flag. I am definitely not saying one flag. I'm saying a world nation coming together to work together. I don't believe in borders personally, and then people say, "Well, why don't you just let people in your house?" We are in two different dynamics there. One is personal space. I do not own America. I do not. When I die, someone's gonna they're gonna be like, "Check, please. All right, next," and someone's gonna come in here and take over my space. I'm not saying displace people. That's not necessarily what I'm saying, but I'm saying borders shouldn't exist in the sense like we shouldn't be against one another, is what I'm saying. But my main character advocates that science is a double-edged sword. I mean, it definitely is, right? It can be used for good and for evil. He also believes in uniting all humanity through tech and science. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Sounds like a good character. My foster mother's sister has the other seasons recorded on TV, and when I go see them, she puts them on. It's an interesting show. I like that Rebecca Romaine is in the show. She's always fun to watch. Science has made us gods even before we are worthy of being men. Jean Rostand, French biologist and philosopher. I like it. I like it. Yes, that is the quote. That is the quote. All right, let's do the poll. One of the villains in my story based on a real person that was so insane most people probably wouldn't believe it actually happened and comes across as comical. All right, but I don't know what... Is this Pepe Le Pew? No. World War II directly led to the modern concept of the golden hour. Oh, interesting. That's interesting. That is very interesting. All right, poll time. Boom. We're here. We're finally here. Uh-oh. Oh, my God. I don't know if YouTube is listening to me or not, but I just got an ad that popped up that said liberals are killing the world. Oh, Jesus. Why would that ad pop up? Anyway. It's Lodi Ajura Eke El Loco. Oh, El Loco. The wrath of God. Wrath of God. Also, excellent. Yes, that is a real person. Real person. All right, let's get into it. How do you deal with a character who refuses to follow your outline? We have in last... Oh, we have 17 votes. Excellent. We have in last place Panic and Eat a Handful of Chocolate. I would pick this for the chocolate, but I wouldn't pick it because it's my choice. However, 12%. Fantastic. All right. In third place, we have Kill Them Off out of spite. Anytime I have an opportunity to kill a character because... No, I'm not saying you should kill your characters off unless they die. Unless they die, because... That's the other thing. I don't think you should save your character just because they have to be saved. If your narrative is leading to the character being killed, you might have to rework the story. And the reason I would say is because you don't want to Deus Ex Machina that stuff or plot armor that stuff. You want to make sure that they live because of reasons, All right. Kill them off out of spite. I don't think I would choose this either if they went off. However, to be clear, though, we are thinking about killing Felix off. Though I might just not let him get on the ship. I might have him, I don't know. I have to figure that out. I'm going to have to figure that out. In second place, we have ground them and rewrite the scene. That's probably what I would do. I would rework the scene, but at the end of the day, though, I think let them take over and throw it out. I don't think I would choose this one, even though this is first. And the reason I say that is because at the end of the day, I am the one who has to make the choices in control. However, you shouldn't push back against your character's behavior if you're starting to see their truth. So this is why I would probably pick this one, but I think I would pick it for a different reason. I wouldn't throw out the outline completely. I would monitor their behavior, but once you start seeing their behavior, maybe they're telling the story that it always was meant to be, and maybe the outline was just the foundation you needed to get there. So, yeah, all right. Let them take over and throw it out. 35%. And Paul. There we go. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Oh, what do we got here? My architect character was inspired by Buckminster Fuller, who pioneered a lot of modern advancements and specifically the geodesic dome, which covers my sci-fi city. Oh, that's cool. Is that the dome where like scientists got together and they lived within this this space, but they realized that because Earth is on a grand scale, that you can't think it's harmonize. I don't know. You can't miniaturize the ecosystem, and their ecosystem wasn't working correctly or something. Is that the same thing? Basically, what Biodome is based on. I didn't see that movie. Was it fun? Was it that you're talking about the remake with the Rock and Emma Jungle Book? The girl who's not Jungle Book. The Jungle Cruise. Yeah, Emily Blunt. She's married to John something or other. Mine's called the Hydrodome. I like hydroponics cause the city needs to sustain life. You need some water, right? You need a little bit. I choose the second because they might not know what's coming. Yeah, a lot of speculative dome city advancements for Utopia cities. Yeah, we can survive on our own. Oh yeah, good luck. All right, everybody. Before we call it a day, let's talk about next week. This coming week, we have on Wednesday, we will have a video writing prompts, unconventional settings. Basically, somebody said they like those, so I'm going to do another one. There's going to be this will be the third in the playlist for writing prompts, but unconventional settings will be out on Wednesday. This coming Saturday, if you want to send me some of your works to analyze on the screen in real time, feel free. But this week, I'm going to do Quicksilver, which is a Fae and Alchemy book, #1 by Kali Hot. This is a big hit. I'm going to be looking at the first chapter. I'm going to be kind of breaking it down. I'm going to read it, and I'm going to be looking at how it moves through and how I'm going to look at its efficiency. Maybe I'll critique the line work, but I'm going to be mostly reading it to break down the efficiency of the narrative and show you top-selling books and how they focus. And of course, Sunday will be Write a Book with Me. Unconventional settings. All right. Do you want to do questions? We can do questions real quick. I have a little bit of time. Questions. All right. Any questions? Feel free. If you have questions about your own writing or what we did today or just writing in general, just know. That's what I do. And also, if you didn't know, you can bloop that beard and bloop that like button because it does help the algorithm. Oh, what do we got here? Oh. By the way, after you watch this live, remember Emma has posted a video. I'll have to share that. We had a discussion, her and I. It was a much needed discussion, and we had to work it out. Basically, I'm going to get her dogs. That's what we came down to. Emma said I can have her dogs. Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I blooped the beard. Here's an idea, Thomas. Let me have the idea. What is most exciting for you when you're working with someone to develop their manuscript? Oh, it has always been and will probably always be the same thing, which is I like seeing it come together. I like the excitement and discussion of the ideas. I like when I come in and we can talk out ideas and the other person isn't, but I wrote it this way and it's the greatest thing and it cannot be changed, because then there's nothing, I can't do anything with that. But when they can discuss ideas, whether it changes or not is another conversation. But I like watching it evolve. I like seeing the specks or the seeds turn into huge trees and just getting it out. I love the process of developing something. That's my favorite. That's my favorite thing. I hope that answers your question. Do you get paid for putting your books into libraries? Yes and no. No, if you give them the book. Yes, if they buy it through Ingram Sparks or another form of aggregation, you do get paid that way. Try putting. First of all, we both know that's ridiculous. If I did something like that, it would just it would be a slight on the world, as they say. It would just well, all I'm saying is, should I? No, you can't do that. You can't do that. It would be wrong. You just. But I will. It is a funny idea, and I would never do it. Because it'd be wrong. It'd be wrong. But I do have a series. Sorry. I have a series idea. Anyway, all right, moving on. All right, what's the strangest character you've developed, Thomas? I have a character for my urban fantasy story called The Melting Man. I love it. And the Double Man duo for circus and thief characters. The Double Man duo. I like that idea. The strangest character I have developed probably has to be Azagoth. Azagoth, without giving anything away, is in the Maven Wars saga. What book he will be in is a whole other story. He is what I would call a priest or cleric slash wizard or mage. He's more of a mage combination. But what makes him the strangest character is his backstory. First of all, I have the species called the Akids, and they are basically birthed from the goddess of greed and evil and bad luck. Like she's the so there's Sabe, who is like the king of the gods, the first. He's considered the first god, but he's not. And then there's the basically the goddess of love and light, and then there's the goddess of the greed. So she is tied for the second most powerful goddess, divine being, known divine being, I should say. Anyway, so the Akids exist. However, they exist to eradicate elves. They hate elves, mostly because I hate elves. But they hate elves, but they also are not necessarily conducive to other societies. They basically are a plague. Anyway, so this character, what makes it interesting to start off is he's half Akid and he's half Hamaran, which is not humans in my world, but they are their own species. But they would be, if anything was human, it would be them, the Hamaran. So he's half and half. So that means an Akid who is completely beyond and against society was with a Hamaran, and they did the nasty and had a child, and this child came up. Azagoth, though, is also a product of great evil. He when he was a child, he was probably 13, 12 or 13. He fell in love with his best friend in the entire world, and he murdered his best friend, so his best friend would always be young and beautiful. He's crazy. So he was cursed by Keluna, the goddess of the dead, and the spirit of his best friend, who is 13ish, travels the world with him. And the character is now older and everything. He's probably in his 20s. But he is a cleric of Keluna, and he is he's a cleric of Keluna, and he studies magic under that sphere too, of the dead. And where he goes and develops as a character from there is what makes him extremely strange, because there's just so much insanity to his making. And he's also frail and like physically weak, but he becomes very powerful. Anyway, hope that answered your question. Do you like video games? Yes. If so, what game has your favorite writing? Mine's Baldur's Gate 3. I have not played Baldur's Gate 3 for one reason only. I would not get anything done. I have an addictive personality when it comes to vanishing from the world and going into video games. Ergo, Fable was like my all-time favorite game. I was a big Call of Duty person. I was in tournaments and stuff with that. The Baldur's Gate would completely suck me into it, and it has everything I wanted to have, and I would not, but I wanted to play it. But what game I like games like Fable, where you can play like that. Zelda, Link to the Past. There's not necessarily writing per se, but I love that game forever. There was a game called Dragoon, which was really fun. What else? I did like the second Assassin's Creed game. I did not like the first, third, or fourth. I stopped playing after that. What else? What is another game that I really love playing all the time? I can't think of it. Yeah, that's about it. Those are good. Contra. Oh, last Tuesday, my foster sister bought me a 4-colored notepad package, and I've been using it since then to write my story. That's awesome. I love that your sister is celebrating and supporting you. I like it. I like it. Maybe analyze her book. I don't have that scheduled. What? I don't have that scheduled. I don't have that scheduled. I am not the villain. I am not the villain. I am not the villain. Okay. I appreciate that. Who is your favorite character from your own book or someone else's, and why? Well, Chris, my favorite character is Vargas. I can't tell you why, because I want people to read the books. But I can say this much. Vargas has what I would consider... I like Vargas as a character and his positions. I like how he sees the world, but is constantly always challenged to push hard against his moral standings. As a character that, well, this I could say, he is a very powerful character that doesn't want to use his power. So on the surface, he's like 6'9". He is a cleric of a Varn, which is the god of Catium, or the god of the underworld. He's basically Satan if Satan like loved his job and wasn't evil. But a Varn is considered evil because his job is to collect the dead, and he runs the underworld. But like a Varn is basically a custodian, and he loves his job. He's just like, I gotta do it. Somebody's got to do it. But the clerics of a Varn are technically considered evil, and Vargas isn't necessarily evil. He made choices that were needed for a greater good, and et cetera, et cetera. So I really like Vargas. After him, I have a huge soft spot for Darian, who is in the first book. He's actually he starts the book off. He's the first character in the prologue. He's writing in his book. He in the prologue is a wizard. We know this because he has this tomb. But Darian, I love Darian as a character. He's everything I like to see in a character. We don't know everything about him. We probably will never know everything about him, but at the same time, He can be funny. He can be serious. He is highly capable, but incapable at the same time. He has a lot of contradictions. I really like Darren. And then after him, it'd be Roder. Roder. Roder is probably my third favorite guy. Now, with that said, though, I do objectively love all my characters, especially the characters that have narrative purpose. Like, I love Septus, I love Devious, I love Maven. I think Zanaya. Zanaya is one of those characters you're going to love to hate, but think she's really fun. I really love Emlyn. Otis is amazing. Aaliyah is one of those characters I didn't think I would enjoy writing at first, I guess one might say that. But there was things about her that I wanted to write, and I was like so glad I got to. Garion turned into a character that I'm so glad is in the book. Because originally he was just sort of like so small of a part, because again, my series was one book. And because I'm an idiot. And so he only existed in like 5 chapters, you know what I'm saying? So, but now that I got to play with him, it's just changed everything. Yeah. Or someone else's, and why? As far as someone else's, well, I like Raceland Magier. He is from the Tales of the Twin books and stuff. I said he is a very complex character. He, you know, him in his test, he had to kill his twin brother within the test. He didn't actually kill him. But he thought he was killing him. He had to kill his brother within the test, which was a big thing. And he, you know, there's something about him that's really funny, where he is a sleight of hand magician as well. Like, he likes magic tricks. Right? He does like magic tricks. And, but he's also like probably the top 3rd most powerful wizard by the end of the Legend series, which is the tale, the War of the Twins. And without giving anything away, I'm just saying it's the reason I fell in love with the book. Excellent stuff. The Dishonored universe is very inspiring for my urban fantasy. The Dishonored universe. Isn't that the Dishonored universe? I need visuals. Oh, you know what else is really good? I have no, oh, I know. Oh, yes. I know what that is. I haven't played that, mostly because I stopped playing. Like, Star Wars, the Old Republic. That game I couldn't stop playing. Star Wars, the Old Republic. That game, console version though. Console version. Is it the Old Republic, or was it another one? The one where like you're good or bad. Yeah, it was called Star Wars: The Old Republic. Not the online version of it. Star Wars game where you are playing Malik. I think it's Malice. I don't know. I forget who it is. Or Ren. I don't know. I can't remember. There's a Star Wars game that was just probably my favorite game. I love Dishonored games and their lore. I gotta look into them. I heard they were real fun. But again, I would lose my life if I played video games. That's the reason I don't play Heroes 3. That's what I'm saying. Like, you just get sucked into it. Oh, Metal Gear. Yeah, I was obsessed with those games. Me and my friends, we were just so obsessed with them. Where do you write down your ideas? Notebook, note apps, Word, Google Doc, and do they ever leave that spot once you've written them down? I used to write everything down in a notebook, and then I started writing it in a Word document, and now I put everything on Google. And the reason I do that is because if I'm out and about, I like to be able to access the file whenever I want. And I have a note sheet for every book that is just notes. It's just notes. And every time I have a note, the newest note always goes up on top. and I do a bullet point, and then the closer I get to a book, I start organizing those notes and start thinking about and brainstorming. What do I want to do with this stuff? Does it ever leave? No, but what I do, the thing I do, I do turn the files into PDFs for backup, and then I save that on an external hard drive, or I save it as a Word. It depends on my mood. But and do they ever leave that spot? They don't necessarily leave that spot. However, once my Google Drive fills up, I'm sure I will have to get rid of stuff. Is that the one where you play as... It's the one where you play as a Force-sensitive character, and through it you can make choices that can turn you good or evil. And then you end up being... what is the strongest Sith in Star Wars? Darth Revan. Yeah, Darth Revan. What is the game you play as Darth Revan? Knights of the Old Republic. That's it. Knights of the Old Republic. Yeah. Yeah. But you start off as you could go either way. But I thought that was interesting because he was both good and, I know what you're talking about. All right, that's everything. We did it. We got it. I will see everybody next week. We are going to have a lot of fun. Remember, if you want me to look over your stuff and do it on the live, feel free to email it to me. I'm always adding to the queue. And of course, one of these days I'm going to have Afghani come on, and we're gonna analyze a Abby Evans book together. I'm going to let him do most of the talking. My favorite character that I'm going to write about is called Ludus, Angel Fairy of Playing Flirting Love. She has hot cocoa rose angel feather wings. I'm in. So I can't wait to write her chapter. I can't wait for you to write it either. That sounds like a lot of fun, my friend. Especially because cocoa wings. Good night, everyone. I gotta go. It's 4 o'clock. It's pretty. As always, I'm Thomas J. Bellezza. Oh, wrong button. Keep developing the right mindset. Much love as always, and I will see you all soon. Later, gator, my friend. Bye.